updates on sports stories across the globe. We have Eddie Yomon with us live in the studio. Good morning, Eddie.
Good to see you, Eddie.
Good morning, Ayan. Good morning, Rufai. Nice
Hi, how are you?
Talking to you through a screen.
Yeah, I'll be very busy. Okay, we'll have a lot today, but I'll just quickly begin with, from here in Nigeria, we have invited junior athletes into the Gateway Games. That's the National Sports Festival, and the NSC.
Welcome again, Amy.
Okay.
Welcome. So joining us now is Eddie Yomo. Great to be here. I just need to introduce you again.
Thank you so much, Rufai. Like I was saying, invited junior athletes into the Gateway Games. That's the National Sports Festival, and this will ensure that these young athletes can rub shoulders with the elite athletes to ensure that there's continuity and they are being groomed or mentored by the top athletes in Nigerian sports. And the NSC also says that this is also to ensure that not just international athletes compete in these kind of tournaments, but younger athletes continue to learn and grow with them. We'll see how that pans out. The National Sports Festival that we held in Ogun State in May after a lot of postponement. But next up, we have really a lot, though. We have the Super Eagles of Nigeria opening camp in Rwanda this Sunday ahead of their game in Kigali. Now, the provisional list was released last week, but there is still talks that the final list will be released this week. We've seen a lot of new names on that list, and we'll be expecting the footballers to arrive directly in Rwanda ahead of the game before returning to Nigeria for the second game against Zimbabwe on the 25th of March. And today we have matches played in the UEFA Champions League. That's the second leg of the round of 16. And those games, 4 of those games to see Barcelona face off against Benfica after getting a 1-0 victory away. And Liverpool take on Paris. They also had a 1-0 victory away. And Inter are at an advantage with a 2-0 victory against Feyenoord. Leverkusen face off against Bayern Munich. Now, looking at these games, we have Barcelona getting a victory in the first game via a Rafinha goal. He's been on fire with 9 goals and 5 assists. And we also had Liverpool, after a lot of efforts, getting a victory courtesy of Harvey Elliott. And for Inter, it was Thuram and Martinez who got the goals. For Leverkusen and Bayern Munich, these two teams have 1 or 2 of their best players out due to injury. Florian Wirtz has been confirmed injured, and there's also Manuel who got injured just during the game, and he will not be available in action. And yesterday we had Mikel Antonio getting a welcome at the West Ham Stadium in his return after his injury 3 months ago, exactly 3 months ago, where he was involved in an accident which looked a lot serious. And he is saying that he hopes he can return to action this season. Let's see what had a pounder for him. But Newcastle defeated West Ham by a lone goal, courtesy of a Guimaraes goal. It lifts Newcastle to 6th on the table. There's still a fight for the European spots for them. And quickly away from that, let's look at United. The co-owner had a lot to say in series of interviews he had yesterday. He talked about how the players may just be overpaid. He talked about the exit of Ten Hag. But the most important things he had to say was United's debt still stands at £731 million, despite his own investment of £300 million. And he also spoke about, because of the extravagance of the team, they had to cut down Sir Alex Ferguson's ambassadorial contract, which ought to have paid him £2 million yearly, that they could no longer afford that. And he said some players, mentioning names like Jadon Sancho and all, were bought on a very high fee, and they've really not shown the dividends of these buys. And he says he regrets not sacking Ten Hag last summer. He also backed Amorim, and he says the main aim for United now is to see them in the same level with Madrid, City, and Liverpool. And let's go leave that and go quickly to Neymar. We had Neymar announcing his injury, and this is one of the biggest football conspiracies, which says that every year, before March 11th, he gets injured before his sister's birthday. Wow. And he's been, in the last 10 seasons, he's been 9 times not available during his sister's birthday. But hopefully his injury, he returns quickly, because he hopes to ensure that his stay at Santos enables him to compete at the highest level with Brazil in the international level. Well, that's all from me on the World of Sports today.
I mean, if you know Radcliffe, you'll know he's a very straight shooter. Yeah. The CEO of Ineos. I mean, he didn't pick his money on the road. He made his money as a result of hard work. Was an accountant, was able to bring investors together. They invested heavily in the oil sector, and Ineos did so well. So he's a very shrewd businessman. He's passionate about sport. I think he's got knees, OG knees. He's also supports a lot of endurance racing and all of that, running. Ineos does a lot of work. But buying into United now, so a couple of things they might have to get right. The debts, 731 million.
From Glazers.
From the Glazers. You see, Avram and his cohorts just went on a mad spree and ruined the club.
Especially with the signings. He even emphasized the fact that the last signings they made before Ten Hag left, they had to bring him into consideration. That's why they had the Dutch players come in. And you look at the relevance of these players being brought in.
Nothing.
And the amount of money spent during the period.
Yeah.
Not reciprocating.
And I think one other thing he has not also told us in the interview that we want to know is how much did an Avram take out of the club?
He also said that...
Because they kept on taking money out of Man United. And they're not spending money in return.
Yes.
So how much cumulatively did Avram and his brother, and those are the Glazer brothers, how much did they take out of that club? Because that club is a case of real mismanagement. And you can see how a club with so much potential can be mismanaged by the hands it gets into.
The top topic about
and that's why you can see some of the protests. I think the 1958, supporters group coming up, and that's symbolic because of, what happened in 58, Munich disaster and all of that. 68, beg your pardon, if my memory serves me right. The Munich, what's it called?
The stadium?
No, the Munich disaster when Man United were going to play,
yes.
and they had an incident where they lost quite some players. So what happened, with those monies they collected? Also, how are they going to fill this financial loophole? Because they're not winning tournaments. The brand equity of Man United is not as strong as it used to be before. There are problems with Old Trafford. There are rats in Old Trafford. Old Trafford needs a lot of upgrade. It's an old stadium.
So what he's saying is that, first of all, there's going to be an increment. There's already an increment in prices of tickets. And next season, there'll be more
But they're not
increments.
justifying it. Because if you increase season tickets
and you're not
with the
getting
shambolic
wins,
performance, who's going to buy it?
It's going to be disconnect. But let me come back home to Nigeria, and thanks for starting off with the National Sports Festival.
Yeah.
We know this has been postponed twice and eroded the confidence of Ogun State's ability to host the festival. But what they're saying is that they are ready. Governor Dr. Abiodun has said that he's ready. In fact, they've invited Anthony Joshua to light the torch, which is meant to add more color to the festival. And I love the new initiative, or the 38th state, as it's been called, invited junior athletes. So it's meant to be in line with the Commission's direction to bridging that gap between new emerging athletes and already established athletes. What happens is that when in a cycle of successful athletes pass by, there's a gap before a new emerges. So they're trying to ensure that continuity is sustained, and then the younger athletes also have an opportunity to be mentored. Yeah. So it's not as much as them going there to win, or I'm hoping that it will shine, but more importantly is the legacy of continuity and sustainability for our athletics, for sports in Nigeria. I think that's a brilliant move. Yeah. Now, they say that the Games Village, they're ready. It's May 16th, I think, to 30th. The Games Village is going to be at Babcock University, all hands on deck. They're saying that there will be no more postponements. But I also want to see, beyond, of course, enjoying the talents that will be on display, I want to see the new stars that would emerge. I want to see the people who would come out, because if you go to any country that's serious about sports, they start them young, from academies.
I think you've just hit the nail, because at the last Olympics, I recall France, Denmark, those were two countries especially that I saw who brought young athletes. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I had to ask them, they said, no, they are not competing. They're just here
to understudy.
Exactly. Okay. So they want to continue. You look at the growth in their sports. Yes. But they had resources. We had resources, but probably not used properly.
Invest in. Yes. That's what they're trying to do, and that's why I say commend this effort. We've talked about even diversification, that let's not just put all our eggs in one or two or three baskets.
Yes, exactly.
Let's also, develop our homegrown talents, invest in them, and see them excel, so that we have a pool of talents to draw from when it's time for these competitions. So I'm looking forward to the games, and all the best to Ogun State. Before that's your state.
Yes.
And so they're
And
doing
we're
us
going to
proud.
host a sparkling tournament. We're going to host a sparkling tournament. And I mean, National Sports Festival, my fear has always been translating those talents and stars into national stars. And I'll give you an instance. I think it was the last National Sports Festival where we had a girl that was swimming for Bielsa doing so well. I'd have loved to see somebody like that on the international stage. There are lots of people that come out of this festival. How do we translate them into the international stage? Look at also games like NUGA, University Games.
Yeah, that's another
that
opportunity.
we ought to be able to use to be able to help people a great deal. We don't see a lot of that.
Meanwhile, we always use the collegiate games in the US.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So if we now try as much as possible to be able to say, okay, let's breed these stars and let's give them an enabling environment. How can we accelerate? How can we pump money into it? How can we ensure that we get these stars to get even better? And concerning what they are doing is good.
Yeah.
One very key footballer that benefited from such a thing was Ronaldo. The first Ronaldo before Cristiano Ronaldo, Ronaldo Nazarin.
Yeah.
He was taken to USA 94 as an understudy because they already saw that he was the next big thing, he was the future of the team and all of that. But guess what? From the experience he garnered from USA 94, as at France 98, he was unstoppable.
Yes.
It was only the wit and the prowess of the Le Bleu that stopped Brazil from winning the World Cup. But it was Ronaldo's World Cup.
But he eventually won it with him.
But eventually won it with him in
Yes.
2002.
Yeah.
But he went in 1994 to understudy as a youngster. So that will also help the athletes. But it's not just about letting them gain experience. Have a conveyor belt where you can transit them to national sports team and represent us in bigger tournaments like Olympic. Nigeria has the talent. We have the stars. We can do it.
Yeah, I'll just quickly say this. For the gymnasts especially, we have some gymnasts in Nigeria like Stephanie Onisuruka, Adila, Adididi. These are very young gymnasts. I've known them for over 5 years. They compete abroad and even in Nigeria. But the environment is just not conducive. Who invests in these athletes?
So there also needs to be a platform where companies invest in track and field and they also own athletes and brand them. I'm happy about what Premium Trust is doing with
Toby
Amuso.
Yeah.
But these are usually the finished products. We're looking at
I know, but take for instance, Mobile back in the days used to organize a lot of track and field tournaments.
Yes, they used to
I
market.
mean, I don't know where that is again. I think MTN too tried, striking one.
Or hockey
But
in those days.
we should have a scheme where you adopt a talent. You adopt a talent and it might not necessarily be all the money. But all of this also, AB also comes back to the poor state of the economy. Is it companies that are struggling?
Or the hungry people that are
See, there's a report on Vanguard that says millions of small businesses shut down because of the state of the economy. Is it companies that are struggling that will be able to adopt a talent and have a sport program and be able to invest in these talents? So it's a potpourri of many issues, and we need to look at it deeply.
rightfully so.
Okay. AB, welcome to Lagos. Thanks for your time with us.